Your business ain't a job. Would you pay you to do the work that you're doing? Would you pay an employee for the work that you're doing in your business? Your income is only impacted or capped by your creativity. I'll also add one more, your courage. It's only capped by your creativity and your courage because you got to be courageous to do some of this stuff. Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. Of course, my co-host helping me deliver the goods today, Ryan Halpert. What's going on, Ryan?
What's up, Dave? How's it going?
Looking beautiful as a man, as
Looking
always, my friend.
looking thin and lightweight. I think that's I think that's gonna be my favorite line with these glasses is just thin and lightweight because you wouldn't expect people to say that, but it's like kind of what I think when I look in the mirror and I'm wearing these.
You
So
think the words that come to your mind are thin and lightweight, huh?
yeah, just
I
like
like
I
that.
think I think I mean stud is kind of another one. I don't know.
I
Maybe
like
my confidence is too high. Maybe I'm just too full of myself. But
I
I don't know. Those are
I
the
like
words.
I like those. I like that four-letter word. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. Um, I'll consider, I'll consider, integrating that as part of your official internet name. We'll
Mhm.
mastermind that a little behind the scenes. But anyways, my friends, what this is about today is that you ever like sat around in your office or car or wherever you're at going, man, this business stuff should be easier than it is. And it's just not working out the way that it's supposed to. And Ryan, I'm sure that this has plagued you at one time,
Mhm.
and potentially every day. Why don't you give people a little bit of an insight into kind of what that looks like with a successful company, and your thoughts on this whole idea of people coming into this business thinking that this should be easier than it is.
Yeah, first time I got sort of blindsided by this was in the very beginning when I was just posting and posting and posting and nothing was working. But meanwhile, I'm seeing everybody else around me, I'll put in quotes, right? Everybody else was getting massive results and making money, going viral, all the different things. But here I was doing all the same hard work and not actually getting anywhere. And that was frustrating. And so I started looking at everything I was doing and trying to figure out where I was going wrong, but couldn't necessarily find the answer. And part of it was just inexperience and lack of skills being built up. And the other part of it is that I was not doing the same level of work that everybody else was doing, even though I thought that I was, right? So
Mm,
uh, the big difference there is that while everybody else that was getting, I keep saying everybody else, while the people who were getting astounding results were doing a whole lot more in terms of planning, in terms of copywriting, in terms of dialing in the message, in terms of every bit of their marketing, every bit of the real estate on that content being used for a very specific and purpose. I was just kind of throwing crap together.
yeah.
And that's where I started to be able to finally get results because I was dialing it in a little bit better and taking the time to learn some of those fine nuances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those slim details that you don't really see when you with the untrained eye. And so once I got into that phase of it, now it still wasn't easy, but at least I had some direction and I know where to go. Right. And going in, I never really felt like, wow, I have to get so involved. I thought I was just going to make some stupid ass videos every day and that was it. And I was going to be good, write a couple emails. And so, but there's more to it than that. And where I think a lot of people get stuck is they stay in that just posting three, sometimes valueless, sometimes pointless, sometimes nothing really communicated whatsoever in the videos, posting three of those a day. And they might do that for a very long time and never get anywhere.
Yeah.
And because they're not really dialing anything in, they're not really putting their focus onto why isn't this actually working and getting very aggressive in their own mind with figuring out and being very specific about what it is they need to do to actually get this thing to work. Why is it that nobody stops and watches my videos? Why is it that nobody comments if they do watch the video? Why is it that nobody wants the information that I'm giving out here? And I think there's a lot of us that I've even actually heard people say, well, wait a minute, how am I supposed to do all this in 2 hours a day? Well, when you're brand new, you're not, right? I'll be transparent, right? You're not going to sit there in 2 hours a day and just make $1 million, right? You've got to actually get really, really good to maybe get to a point where you can take so much of the workload off of yourself that you can barely work and still make a lot of money. And
Yeah.
so that's where I think I land with the majority of that type of stuff and my experience with sort of that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people in the comments who are like, great topic. I relate to this. You've been seeing my stuff on IG, says Richard. Lorraine's, yep. So we get it. We've been there, and we know what it's like. I mean, we weren't born into internet marketing with a silver spoon. We weren't this cool when we came online.
We were pretty cool. We were pretty cool.
I think it takes some time to get comfortable. Like, you weren't this cool, you weren't this laid back, you weren't this relaxed. I mean,
Oh no.
so it's gonna take some time for you guys to get your groove and stop being so awkward, right? And doing the things that are just basic. You need to iron out the wrinkles in your like just being comfortable on camera. And that's just going to be repetition, right? But once you're generally comfortable on camera, it's really just manipulation of simple stuff that makes something more engaging or not. um and this is all the stuff that we talk about and teach here. I mean, it's marketing. It's the difference between having a website and a landing page, right? It's the difference between using a great hook at the beginning of your video and not using a great hook at the beginning of your video. It's the difference between getting better at editing your videos and being crappy like you are when you first start, and that we all are. um, and there's going to be some things that you just never get better at. For example, Ryan comes over and we both laugh at my typing because it's so horrible. It's so slow and it's so horrible. I mean, AI is like, oh my God, thank God, because that was my biggest problem when I first started in online marketing, was that I was a ninth grade dropout, so I had no ability, not no ability, but my grammar and spelling sucked, and I hunted and pecked on the keyboard. And can you hear that?
Yeah.
That saw.
Oh no, the saw's not coming through, but I can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. Um, so it's like when when you first start out, and I was alluding to something there just a moment ago before I got distracted, but something about that we've gotten better with. But or something that I struggled with. Oh, my grammar and my spelling.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, while you think in sort of the I wasn't illiterate, but I still am somewhat computer typing illiterate. I mean, I can't type on a keyboard without looking at the damn thing and doing some form of my own weird hunting and pecking. I'm not sitting here pounding out, code and working like a magician here in the keyboard like some of these people who can type 100 or 200 words a minute. It's just not my. So I had to figure out what else I could be good at. I had to figure out how to tell a better story, to be honest with you. I mean, that was one of the things that there was a lot of people when I came online that were good at a lot of things that I wasn't. And this is probably true for you too. There's a lot of people who are better at getting content out faster, batching content, recording B-roll, like all that stuff, probably even organization, stuff like that. There's people who are going to be better at you than things, and what you have to do is focus on what you're good at, like what you can actually have an advantage of. And for me, my advantage again, if I go back and I look, and I still think it is to this day, it's that I'm not afraid to tell my story even as I've become successful. I'm not afraid to talk about the I'm not afraid to just be open in front of people. I'm not afraid to just tell people because of 15 years of doing it on camera. I've done it. The first time I was scared, the second time I was scared, the third time I was less scared. By the fourth or fifth time that I shared my story or something transparent, it no longer bothered me, right? It no longer was a big deal like it was 4 or 5 times earlier, right? So I also kept doing things until they became comfortable, until I became good at them, not just going live one time, nobody shows up, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Or I posted my video for the day as if you're checking a box. This ain't a job, folks. Your business ain't a job. Would you pay you to do the work that you're doing? Would you pay an employee for the work that you're doing in your business? That's always a powerful question to ask yourself because you would want your employees to be taking risks, to try new things, to put themselves out there, to do things a little bit different today than they did yesterday. So you got to be willing to do that too. And I've always said this from the beginning of my career, at least as long as I can remember, your income is only impacted or capped by your creativity. I'll also add one more, your courage. It's only capped by your creativity and your courage because you got to be courageous to do some of this stuff. You got to be courageous. Whose birthday is it, by the way? Kim Ballum?
Kim, man, all these happy birthdays, didn't even notice.
Whose birthday is it?
Not sure. Kim Ballum's the only Kim I see here.
Is it Kim Ballum's birthday, guys? All right.
Well,
All
happy
right.
birthday to Kim, whichever
Happy
Kim that may
birthday,
be.
Kim. Happy
No
birthday,
last name
Kim.
specified.
It's Kim Ballum. Wow, guys, what a horrible person I am for not knowing that. Happy birthday to you. That's all you get.
You.
Yeah, yeah. We're not the Blues Brothers over here.
24
Um,
years old today.
wow. Wow. Moving on up in her 20s. That's a beautiful thing.
See, I
Um,
told y'all I was a gentleman.
oh God, you are a stud and a gentleman. So
And I look good and lightweight.
let's bring this in for a landing, guys, because really this is an episode in and of itself here where like this topic of stop thinking. I'm just gonna hit you with some cold, hard, just punch in the throat here before we let you go. Stop hoping that it's gonna be easier and just get better. Raise your tolerance from being able to deal with difficult stuff. One of the biggest things that you need to do as an entrepreneur, and I'd argue as a person in this life, is you need to raise your frustration tolerance and you need to raise your quitting tolerance. How
Hmm.
much pain, and really would think that's your pain tolerance. How much pain can you take? There's this guy, I think his name's Justin Truitt, but he's running marathons in jeans and breaking world records. And he has this hat that says it's just pain. And that really is true here too. Some people who start businesses act like they're being asked to run ultra marathons, but you're really not. You're just at your business is asking you, your freedom, your potential freedom is requiring you to be creative and courageous in order to have success. Because if you didn't have to be creative and courageous in order to be successful, then everybody would be successful, right? So stop hoping and wishing that it was easier. That literally is a recipe to end up both quitting and I mean, I hate calling people a loser, but if you're going to categorize winners and losers, it's definitely an attitude of the losers, is wishing that it was easier, is wishing that things weren't so hard. And it's
Yeah.
like everybody's got a hard life. This is one of the things that I'm getting more passionate about as I get older is complaining that I have a hard life or that things are hard or anybody around me, my tolerance. As a matter of fact, I need to raise my tolerance for people complaining about having a hard life, especially when they live in the United States of America or any other first world country on this planet. This planet is a fucking blessing to be on. It's a blessing. It's a blessing to be on this planet. It's a blessing to be born into a first world country. It's a blessing to be on a dadgum iPhone right now. I'm blessed. I started out in a sleeping on a double bed in my dad's studio apartment, and we both got clean and sober together in 2008. And I worked construction until I was tired of doing that. And then I said, you know what? If I want to be rich, if I want to have my own home, if I want to have a boat, if I want to have stuff, I better stop acting like everything's so hard. I better stop whining and thinking that things are supposed to be handed to me on a silver platter. Entrepreneurship damn sure ain't. You know what I mean? It damn sure ain't gonna be handed to anybody on a silver platter. My boy Bubba, my boy Webb says spitting, and I am. I am spitting, nothing but facts. And I have been for 15 years, and I'll keep doing it for another 15.
There it is. There it is. Yeah, I think that a lot of times, like when you mentioned quitting and stuff like that, something I've said a lot with the different, on different occasions when it's come up is when we first get started in business. I know this is how it was for me when I first started in heavy equipment, and it was the same thing when I first started in online business. And I had this big goal, right? And it's modest goal, right? But still a big goal, $10,000 a month, right? That's what I want to make. I want to get there. I want to have that kind of income. And that's a big goal. And to have the expectation that you're going to come in and hit that, that's a big expectation, right? But it's not a bad goal. It's not an unrealistic goal. But then I think what happens is we realize how hard it is to actually get there. We realize how big the gap is between where I'm at now, which basically I know nothing, to I'm going to make $10,000 a month over and over again consistently. And so you tend to bring the expectation, you dial it back a little bit. So now instead of, $10,000 a month, it's I want to make my first $1,000. And then that still is feels like a gap. So then over time, you keep working on the business. Maybe you're a month in at this point, and you bring it back a little bit more, and you're like, I just like to make my first sale. And now what's happening is you're continuously bringing that expectation in and in and in a little further to where it's like, I just want to have my first lead. I just want to have a video go over 1,000 views. And now you're at a point where the reward that you're actually going after versus the work you're putting in to try and get that, there's such a differential there, right? The payoff for actually hitting that reward is so small as opposed to the amount of work you're putting in to actually try and get it, right? So when you were going for $10,000 a month or even $1,000, in earned income, it was easy to keep putting that work in. But because you kept moving the goalpost back so much, you're no longer as motivated or as disciplined to keep doing the work, right? So I think my encouragement would be to, keep a modest goal in mind and keep in mind where you originally were looking to go. And remind yourself and remember that you're able to get there, right? What do you got to do to actually get there? And just keep doing that work and keep putting that work in. And you might need a coach. You might need more training. You might need those things. But what you really need in those moments where you're like thinking about, I'd just like to get a lead today, or I'd just like to get that one sale. Shift your thinking from, okay, I'm doing this because I'm looking to get myself to 5,000, 10,000, whatever your goal is per month, right? I'm looking to get to this income level. And now it's easier to keep doing that really, really hard work, at least for me anyways. That's something that, I've always had massive, insanely high goals, and even things that I know I'm never going to make because I know that, well, if I at least get part of the way there, my goal was so big, that's still pretty damn good. So that's
And
kind of,
I like not reaching a goal versus continuing to always move the goalpost.
yeah.
Just be
Yeah.
okay with failing. Be okay with not being successful at everything. Embrace your failure.
Absolutely.
Don't beat yourself up. Don't act like you're a failure, but you failed at hitting that goal. And if you want to not fail, you need to keep at it, right? You need to keep going. And eventually you might hit that goal if you don't change the goalpost and change the direction. And I mean, that's one of the things that I've learned in business, Ryan, is that there's a lot of people. The reason why shiny object syndrome is so bad is not because like multiple streams of income is good. So why would shiny object syndrome be bad? Right? Because managing and getting multiple streams of income up is unrealistic if you ain't got one stream streaming.
Hmm.
So you need to get one stream streaming, right? And if you ain't got one stream streaming, the majority of wealthy billionaires and deca millionaires will tell you um, that they built their wealth from a business, not from real estate, not from a stock market, but that initial wealth that they had where they got the money to invest in real estate, where they got the money to invest in the stock market was created from a business. A business is the fastest vehicle to get rich. A business is has got the largest gains. The gains that a business can provide are unrealistic for any other passive investment or any other asset, honestly. And so it's okay to have big goals in your business, right? It's okay to have goals and then supersede those goals and give yourself higher goals. But in terms of constantly always moving the goalpost and switching directions, one of the biggest secrets to long-term business success is actually just staying in business and building your business up over time. So a lot of you guys are switching directions and doing a lot of things like that, and it's not helpful. It's not helpful. It's actually hurting you. And so whether you just need to stop complaining that things are so hard, or whether you need to kind of realize that business is really about business is really about testing things and sort of you know I think about some of I think about some of the big stories in the Swiss watch world, right, which is a really interesting it's a really interesting world where people will spend hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars on a watch. And back in the 1970s, Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet, who are the two, besides Rolex and maybe Richard Mille or maybe FP Journe in the Swiss watch world, Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe are right up there. And they essentially their watch business was crashing in the 70s because of the quartz the quartz craze, the battery operated quartz craze, right?
Mm.
Mechanical watches were a thing of becoming a thing of the past, right? And so there was all of this panic in the watch world. And so um Patek Philippe, I believe it was Patek first, perhaps it was Audemars Piguet or AP, hired a gentleman named Gerald Genta to sketch out what is now the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak and the Patek Philippe Nautilus. They're two main, most popular, highest selling watches, by far the hardest to get within the brand. Harder than all the gold ones is just this steel. It's a plain steel time only watch. Okay. And it was marketed back in the 1970s as the most expensive steel watch in the world, right? And it was ungodly cost for a steel watch, stainless steel. Ungodly. Normally it would have been gold or platinum pricing for that. Uh, well, the Patek Philippe Nautilus, the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak are two of the most popular, highest selling watches of all time, and they rolled the dice on that. They didn't complain it was too hard. They didn't complain that it was, that oh man, like for us here, AI. It's another example, right? Back then in the quartz crisis, the battery operated watches was like AI in that industry.
Mm.
battery up. It was here. It was changing the game. It was, oh my gosh, doing it by hand is no longer a thing anymore. And guess what actually won long term? Quartz didn't win long term. Mechanical, handmade mechanical watches won long term. So who knows what the future brings? Who knows if AI is going to stick around, if this or that? We don't know. But what we do know is that instead of wishing that it was easier, instead of wishing things were different, adapt to them and try something, especially in a time period to where things are really being disrupted. Try something bold right now. I mean, if you guys, here's another thing that I wish you guys understood. If you guys have a shitty channel that nobody's watching, try stuff. You can do some of the craziest stuff. You can do anything. Nobody's watching. Try stuff. Do crazy things. Come into the camera like this. Oh, yeah. I mean, anything for God's sakes. What are you doing? Oh, wow.
I got
Oh,
messages. Yeah, I mean, I got messages from two of our students last night. Shout out to Kim and Melissa. They're both just started going viral at the same time. And what Dave's talking about, what you're talking about right now, right, is what drove that, right? It's and in Melissa's case, right, what she did was she made a video opening up her fridge, right? She literally put her phone in her fridge, opened it up, and the text says, everybody needs to have this in their fridge. And then she pulls out a stack of 39 credit cards, which doesn't make any sense, but that's why it friggin' works. It's you're capped by creativity, right? And
yeah.
now she's got a whole bunch of people viewing this video. It's getting pushed out. It's one of her highest viewed videos ever, and it's blown up overnight. Same thing happened for another student, Kim, who was, putting in all the work, and now all of a sudden she's having a breakthrough as of yesterday, and she's messaging me that she can't even keep up with all the leads that are coming in, which
Oh,
is incredible. And
it's you're actually, and nowadays, you're not just one funnel away. You're one video away. You're one half a video away. I mean, you're closer than you think you are. I think that's one of my favorite memes. I wonder if anybody has this, or you can find it real quick and pull it up. And as I'm saying this, it's the meme with the guy who's digging for the diamonds, and he quits right before, right? And the other guy,
oh,
right? He you know
I
what I'm
know what
talking about? Quit
I know
right
what you're
before you
talking about.
find gold meme. Try to find that one and put that up. Folks, I mean, I mean, that's what we all do all the time, is we quit right before the miracle happens. I mean, I see this happening. That's not my invention of a word, by the way, either. I learned that in drug treatment and recovery, because there's people getting clean from heroin and cocaine and all kinds of stuff. And guess what they want to do? Quit. Quit. It's hard. It's hard to get clean. Hard to go through that withdrawal. Hard to go through that physical pain. But don't quit before the miracle happens. What's the miracle? The miracle is like not feeling, not going through withdrawal, not craving drugs or alcohol or whatever. There's the meme, man. It's like
They're
that
selling it.
is,
They're
huh?
selling it.
Selling the damn thing. Who is?
Capwing.com. Digging for diamonds, never give up meme template. Use this popular format to make your own digging for diamonds. I mean, I would just screenshot the damn thing. I'm not going to pay this guy.
Did he make it? Did he? I mean, people are just,
Maybe.
they're just claiming stuff as their own. Perhaps he did make it.
Maybe I don't even have to pay. Maybe I can just get it for free. Oh, I think I get it for free. So here I am. Here I am. Look what I'm doing here. Look at this. See that?
Talking about how much of a scoundrel you are when you could have got it for free.
Talking about, yeah. But anyway, I mean, we'll get the words out of the way. I mean, this is that's exactly the one. No.
It is. It is. I love that one. I love that one. It's just so true, man. It's so true. My other favorite meme of all time is the one where everybody's standing in line at the like the pharmacy, and it's like, who wants to change? And
Oh,
nobody raises their hand, and then it's like, who wants change? And everybody's raises their hand. So yeah, if you want change, you got to change. You guys know that, but I think there's been some great nuggets here today on like the journey and what it really takes to be able to succeed with this. Shout out to Kim, shout out to Melissa, shout out to everybody who's not quitting before the miracle happens, seeing things popping off and taking off. You deserve it. You put in the hard work for that, and it'll just keep getting better, ladies. So, Rye, we'll catch you later. All good. I got to get back to getting ready for this Wake Up Legendary ending and this brand new beginning. As some of you know, we're going to be ending the Wake Up Legendary show here at the end of the month, live here in sort of changing up the format over on YouTube, David Sharpe Live. You can go subscribe to David Sharpe Live. Make sure that you got the notifications because we are going to be dropping a brand new video over there at 10 a.m. Eastern time every single day. And as you see, we're talking about it. We're announcing it. Part of talking about things for me in my career is about announcing them. It's about declaring them. It's about making my plans public. It's about holding myself accountable. It's about making a decision and then announcing it so you can't go back on it, right? I mean, you guys can imagine, you know, just because you're making tough decisions in your business too, but we're making tough decisions, and it's like sometimes you can get hesitant and then you don't want to follow through, but if you make it public, you do follow through, right? You don't go back on it. So I mean, for me, again, my style of marketing a lot more transparent, a lot more just live, letting you guys follow the journey and learn as we learn and learn as we test and learn as we try and go on the journey with us. And it's worked out pretty damn well so far. In 7 years, hundreds of thousands of people have taken our courses. We've helped people earn tons of money, some of which we're not able to track, some of which we are. But we just appreciate all the support and all the hard work that you guys put in to make yourselves and us look good, honestly, because you guys are just rock stars. And Ryan and I would look like idiots if we were out here doing it all alone. So thanks for being a part of it. Ryan, we'll see you later, brother. We'll talk to you probably shortly after the show.
absolutely, man. Sounds
You
good.
guys, you guys have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for another episode. Get out of here, my friends. Peace.
Peace.